Hello, class. We are now in grade 5, section 5.7. In this section, we are learning how to use zeros when we are dividing with our decimals, okay? Sometimes we need to add a zero at the end, okay? And so therefore, adding a zero at the end with decimals, we are allowed as long as that zero follows the decimal point that is at the very, very back end of the decimal uh, uh, problem. Okay, let's take a look. We're going to start here with number 2. And number 2, the question is, how many 25s are in 40? We know that there's 1. 1 times 25 is 25. When we subtract, we have a 10 here, a 3 here. That's 5. That's 1. We bring down our 5. So then we ask how many 25s are in 155, and we recognize that there's 6. All right, so 6 times 25, we get a 30 here. We get a 12, 13, 14, 15. When we subtract, we have a 5. Well, now we have nothing to bring down. So what we must do now is put a decimal point here at the end of the problem, and now we are allowed to add zeros. We must be sure we put that decimal point also in our quotient. Okay, so we added it to our dividend, and now we put it in our quotient in order for us to be able to utilize it. So we bring down our 0, and we find that how many 25s are in 50? We find that there are 2, and 2 times 25 is 50. Now we have nothing else, and the problem is now over. Okay, let's take a look at number 4. Okay, we're going to kind of move this over so that we have enough space. All right, in this case, we have a decimal point, but here we do not have a decimal point. So what we do is we put the decimal point in our dividend. We know it to be at the end. And so now, when we move a decimal point here, we have another decimal point here that mirrors the same movement. In other words, it does the same thing. So here, we move 1 space. So here, we move 1 space. Therefore, we must add a 0 there to hold the space. Can't leave it blank, okay? And so therefore, when we move that decimal point to the end, we put it here, and now we put it in its rightful place in our quotient, and then we can begin. How many 8s are in 30? We know that there are 3. 3 times 8 is 24. When we subtract, we have a 10 here. That gives us a 6. We bring down our 0. Okay, so then the question is asked, how many 8s are in 60? Excuse me, we know to be 7. That gives us 56. When we subtract, this is a 10, this is a 5, we have a 4. Now, we're already at the end of our decimal point. Remember, we can add as many zeros as we want as long as there is behind the what? Yes, you got it, the decimal point. So we put a 0 here. All right, decimal point is already in place. Bring down our 0. How many 8s are in 40? 5. 8 times 5 is 40. We subtract. There's nothing left, and there's nothing to bring down. Okay? Now, let's take a look at number 6. On number 6, we're going to move it just a tad here for space purposes. Okay? And we find that number 6, we are looking at the fact that we have 35 divided into 97 and 3/10. Okay, so there is no decimal point here. All right, so therefore this decimal point in our dividend stays where it is, and so we put it in its rightful place in our quotient, and then we can begin. Question is asked, how many 35s are in 97? The answer is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now let's subtract. This is 7, this is 2. Bring down our 3. Question is asked, how many 27s are in 273? The answer is 7. 7 times 35, 7 times 5, that's 35. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 3 is 24. All right, we subtract. This is 13, this is 6. 13 minus 5 is 8. 6 minus 4 is 2. And now we have a remainder, and we have no more numbers to bring down. but it is behind the decimal point. So guess what? We can add, let me hear it, a 0. So let's put our 0 there, bring it down. So now we have 280. So the question is asked, how many 35s are in 280? The answer is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 4 gives us a 28. And therefore, when we subtract, the problem is over and there's nothing to bring down. Let's look at number 8. We're going to relocate it for room purposes here and make it vertical. So we have 49 divided by 14. All right. There is no decimal here. There's no decimal here. We treat it as a whole number and we move forward. So how many 14s are in 49? The answer is 3. 3 times 49. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. We subtract. 9 minus 2 is 7. We have a remainder. We have nothing left. So we do what? Did I hear it? Decimal point. So we put a decimal point here. We put a decimal point here. It's at the end. We add a 0 and we can continue. So the question is asked, how many 14s are in 70? And the answer is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. We subtract. There's nothing left. There's no need to add a 0. Problem is over. Let's take a look up here. Here, we need to rewrite this number to create it, make it vertical. Rewrite this problem so that we have all right, so we have a decimal point here, so we need to move it. 1, 2. We have a decimal point here. Mirror this movement. If we moved it twice here, we must move this one twice. 1, 2. Put it here, and we're ready to get started. The question is asked, how many 76s are in 114? The answer is 1. 1 times 76 is 76. Then we must subtract. This is 14. 14 minus 6 is 8. And then 10 minus 7 is 3. So now we're at the decimal end. We have nothing to bring down. We add a 0. We bring down our 0. And the question is asked, how many 76 are in 380? And the answer is 5. We put a 5 here. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus 3 is 38. When we subtract, the problem is over. Okay? Now, we do the same for number 16. We want to rewrite it. Number 12. We want to rewrite it. Okay? All right? And therefore, here we go. We have no decimal point, so our decimal point here, we leave it where it is. How many 16s are in 138? The answer is 8. 8 times 16, we have 8 times 6 is 48. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So we subtract, we have 10, bring down to 4. The question is, how many 16s are in 104? The answer is 6. Put 6 here. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is a 9. Subtract. 14, 9. 14 minus 6 is 8. 9 minus 9 is 0. So now we need to add a 0 here to bring down. And the question is, how many 16s are in 80? The answer is 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 3 is 8. Subtract. The problem is over. Now here, we have a word problem. I just picked out the points from the word problem, but it reads, Joshua pays $7.59 for 2.2 pounds of turkey meat. What is the price per pound of the turkey meat? So if he paid the $7.59, okay, but he bought 2.2 pounds. So what we need to do is divide the pounds into the amount that he spent to find out how much it is for just 1 pound. So we move our decimal point one space. So we move this one space. And so then we begin to proceed with our division. How many 22s are in 75? There's 3. 3 times 22 is 66. We subtract. 15 minus 6 is 9. Bring down the 9, we have a 99. How many 22s are in 99? We have a 4. Don't forget our decimal point here, my fault. We have 4. 4 times 22 is 88. When we subtract, we have 11. Bring down, add a 0. Bring it down. And then how many 22s are in 110? The answer is 5. 5 times 22 is 110. We subtract, and the problem is over. And there's nothing else to bring down.